Okay, so welcome everybody to our training. Today's topic is the top 5 lessons from the compound effect by Darren Hardy. So today, Vaughn is going to be accompanying me on this training because he actually had a personal relationship with Darren Hardy and knew him personally and worked with him. And so Juan, why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about this book, The Compound Effect, and what you know, kind of maybe behind the scenes, right, of how this came to be.
Well, this book is the second one he wrote. The first one was something about having your best year yet. And that's the one I was helping edit when it was still an email, before there was the kind of internet distribution that we have now. And so I've worked with him ever since, but only from a very arm's length point of view. He doesn't pay me anymore, and I don't do any direct work with him, but I do participate in his Darren Daily and comment on that and connect with him. It was interesting enough. He's been married 22 and a half years now. And I'm looking back on the day that he called me about 2 weeks before he married Georgia and asked what were my 3 tips, because I'd been married over 25 years and how do you create a successful marriage? Well, I didn't have any top 5 lessons from or compound effect exactly, and I don't remember exactly what I told him, but I've come to appreciate him and the books he's written since then. This is a good one. This is a very good one, but it's also uh, been superseded by some of his other books since then on uh, on being an entrepreneur, the entrepreneur roller coaster, and his later one here. They're all good. He's a good man. He's trying to do the right thing. He grew up in tough circumstances and learned from them. And one of the messages I got out of that is if he could have excuses, like most people do have some opportunity for excuses, and he overcame those. He had a dad that did demand a lot of him, and which a lot of us don't have that. I did some projects, and my dad didn't know how to help me with them. He would have, he loved me, but he didn't know how to help me with the business side of it. And Darren did have that, and so he gleaned all he could, and he became an expert in several areas. And one of them is he built some one of the largest network marketing businesses at the time, and he went on to work with Scotty Kufas for a little while, and then he started his own, uh, broke out on his own, and became the publisher of the Success magazine for several years. And so he had access to all the great names in business, and they'd come on there to be interviewed, and he would publish their wisdom in articles in the magazine. And it went from there to his many kinds of seminars that he does. He's got about 5 major ones. He's doing one right now called the Business Masterclass. So you may get opportunities to enroll in something like that. He does the Darren Daily for free, 5 days a week, and it's a good thing. I would recommend anybody get onto it because he takes anywhere from 3 to about 8 minutes to deliver some kind of an important message, some piece of wisdom that's well worth it. And about once or twice a week, he hits a real home run. So that's my recommendation. And let's take off and take a look at the compound effect.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Vaughn. Okay, so the of the top 5, right? The book has a lot of things in it, and definitely highly recommended. It's one of the first things I ever read when I started doing this years ago. But we're going to look at just the top 5, right? And the very first one that really is important is the ripple effect, right? And it's the compound effect of our decisions as on a daily basis, right? We're making choices, we're deciding things, And those things compound, right? That we've all heard about, compounding when it comes to interest rates and money, and the way that money just builds off of itself, right, and compounds over time. And Albert Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world. Compound interest can either work for you or against you. So um, really what we need to understand is that it has a ripple, right? It's something that goes and it affects our lives years down the road, decades down the road, as we make these decisions, as we have these behaviors that we do. Okay. So our choices, they truly do become behaviors, and then those behaviors turn into habits, right? So, like anything in life, the more you practice something, the better you become at it. It builds off of itself, right? And if you practice positivity, then you will most likely have positive results. And the positive results you want to have experience in your life will be the result of the repetitive, smart choices that you make on a daily basis. So if you can continue to make smart choices over time, you're going to be a better version of yourself. And so the whole compound effect boils down to a simple formula, which is smart, small choices, right? Or small, smart choices plus consistency plus some time, right? It takes some time equals a radical difference, right? And we see that in so many different things, whether it's, developing a skill, whether it's investing money, whatever it is, it just takes some time to do that. The penny that doubles every single day for 30 days doesn't look very different, 2, 3, 5 days down the road, but by day 30 it's now worth over $1 million, right? We know that. And so it's the same thing with life. As we make these small little decisions, okay, and actions in our lives, whether it's reading a chapter in a book, listening to some kind of a personal development podcast, going to a seminar, attending these trainings right on Saturdays that we do. All these little simple decisions, and they don't have to take a lot of time, right? It's not something where you have to go spend hours doing it, right? It literally could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day of something, but you add all those up, and next thing you know, a year from now, you've got yourself, almost a college education just from little bits of reading that you did every single day, right? So these simple decisions and actions, right, they will make a difference. Contacting somebody, it's not hard, to contact somebody and introduce them to what we're doing. It's not something that's hard, but it's not always easy, right? So sometimes we just don't do it, forget about it. But if we do those things, then it will add up into something good. But at the same time, a simple decision of not reading, a simple decision of not doing some exercise, simple decision of eating something unhealthy, right? Add all those things up over time, and it's going to cause health issues. It's going to cause, oh, I didn't accomplish my goal, whatever it is. So that's kind of the idea here, right? Vaughn, do you have any comments on this one?
It's called forming habits. We can either form good ones and they keep going up and up, or we form bad ones and they keep taking us down and down and heavier and harder to overcome.
Yeah, exactly. So it just feeds off itself, and that's why people they go into a downward spiral, right? It's because it just compounds the negative, takes you down, and then it's really hard to get back up. So yeah, the message on this one is let's be conscientious about the things we're doing every day, and just make those decisions, right? It's just a decision. I'm going to do something. I'm going to take a little bit of time. Personal example, I started using the Duolingo app on my phone, and I really like it. I decided I'm going to learn Japanese. Okay, and so besides Spanish, which I've learned, I'm learning Japanese, and it literally takes less than 5 minutes to do a lesson on the Duolingo app on my phone. And it reminds you, right? The little owl comes on and reminds you, hey, you've only got a little bit of time before the end of the day. You have to keep your streak going. And it's fascinating. I'm on a 61-day streak so far. I've been doing it for 61 days. And I now can hear when I hear things, whether it's on TV or show I'm watching or whatever, I recognize now some of the things that are Japanese, and I go, I know that, and it's really cool. And it literally is taking me on average about 3 to 4 minutes a day. That's it. right, to do it. But compounded over 61 days now, I'm getting it. I'm starting to recognize things. I'm starting to hear things and go, oh, that's Japanese. Oh, okay, that my daughters love to watch anime, and so they have these Japanese cartoons, and I'm starting to pick up on certain things, and I'm realizing, yeah, all it was a decision I made to be consistent and take less than 5 minutes a day to get on the Duolingo app and learn some Japanese, right? So that's just an example, but there's so many other things that we can apply this to. So point number two is our choices actually do matter, right? So here's some quotes. So Darren Hardy said, success is a result of small, seemingly insignificant moment to moment choices that add up to big results, right? So that's it. It's moment to moment choices, right? Am I or am I not going to eat that extra chocolate today, right? Am I or am I not going to, take a second to go do my Duolingo app? Am I or am I not going to, take a few minutes to do some exercise set, whatever it is, right? It these little things that seem insignificant that really do add up to big results. The other one that I really love is well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, right? And so sometimes, life hits us in the face, right? Sometimes it's like, I forgot to take my car in for the oil change. And guess what? The engine's blown. And that's from personal experience. That literally happened to my son's car 2 weeks ago. He was driving home he went to do axe throwing with his friends, and midnight, he calls me, Dad, my car broke down. I'm pulled over on the side of the highway. I'm like, really? What did you do? And so I went, I had to go rescue him. We had to have the car towed in. And, they looked at it and they said, yeah, the motor's blown. And it was because he didn't tell me that the check engine light had come on and that he hadn't taken it in for his oil change, and so he fried the motor. And yeah, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, right? He ignored it. He thought it'll be fine. No, you've got to be on top of these things. That was the lesson I told him. So now we're shopping for a new car for him and going through that whole process. But it's those daily decisions. We just decide to put them off. We decide to ignore things for a little while, thinking it'll be okay. Well, no, yeah, those consequences end up showing up. And then Darren's final thing he says is, it has been proven countless times by average people with meager beginnings who have risen to become extraordinary, world-changing achievers, that anything you can clearly visualize and genuinely desire is within the realm of possibility for you, right? But you just have to follow these first things, which is the daily, seemingly insignificant moment to moment choices, right? But if you do it, if you stick with it and you do it on a daily basis, you will get there. It is possible for you, right? Juan, any comments on those?
Yeah, the center graphic, the El Arroyo sign that they change every day and do those clever, very insightful messages to the readers. If you look them up, you could get a lot of good humor and wisdom out of the daily messages they put up on the sign. But watch out, what happens is it gets to be addictive. You can create another habit of, doom scrolling, I think is what they call it. And you can just sit there and you can watch those cute messages all day long and never get anything done by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now the third thing is, what's your mojo, right? So what motivates you and what motivates you and what keeps you from giving up, right? This goes back to my 10 steps of to success. Is the first step is all about defining your why, right? And it's the same thing here. He's basically saying, what is your why? What is it that motivates you and keeps you going? So people are either motivated by something they want or something they don't want, right? It's either fear or it's reward, right? It's the stick or it's the carrot. So in this case, Darren is emphasizing that it's important to identify what your mojo is so that you can figure out where you lie on this scale. So he says how to succeed. Well, you got to wake up, kick butt and repeat. Okay, that's the one thing. And then his other one is your main competitors are not other people, right? It's not other people in your industry. Your main competitors are your distractions. So don't let them beat you. Stay focused, right? You got to stay motivated. It's all comes down to the motivation. When they talk about exercise, it was interesting. I've been on a weight loss journey for the last year or so, and I'm actually down about 60 pounds, and it's been a combination of diet and I did do semaglutide, and I've done but also exercise and stuff like that. And I remember my doctor told me, he said, the best kind of exercise that you can do is the kind that you'll actually do. Right? Like, hey, that makes sense, right? So he's like, if you don't like jogging, don't set a goal to go jogging because you're not going to do it, right? You're not motivated to do it. And he was right. I hate jogging. I'm not going to go out and run in the morning. Like, that's the last thing I want to do. But what I did find that I enjoy doing is I enjoy doing the VR headset. My son has one of those PlayStation VR things, the helmet that you put on. And there's a thing, it's called Beat Sabers, and you actually use the little sticks, right? And you go and you slice the cubes as they're going by while it plays music, right? And I love that. I think it's so fun. And you know what? It's exercise I will do. It's something that I will actually go on. I'll put the headset on and I'm playing a video game, right? But I'm actually moving. I'm actually waving my arms and slicing those cubes as they come flying at me, and listening to music I like, right? And so even if I just do that for 15 minutes a day, right? It's exercise. It's aerobic. It's getting me, it's helping me break a sweat, right? As they say. And so it's exercise I will do. I'm willing to do. So that's the idea, is that you got to find out what it is that you're motivated by, what it is you like doing, and so that you'll keep doing it, right? And more toward, I lean towards more of the reward than the punishment, but still, that is the message, right? Is, hey, what is it that keeps us from giving up? What can we do to stick with it so that we can, as he says, wake up, kick butt, and repeat every day, right? So, Bon, thoughts on that?
Yes, the very thing that we talk about, really the compound effect, is a matter of continually doing it, doubling the penny every day, and keeping doubling it. And well, as you said, you're having a why that you're doing it, but it's also the fact that you know that if you keep doing it, you'll get the result. And if you do it mathematically, a lot of people do like to think about the math in another way, and that is this adding 1% per day. And that's one of his messages. Darren has 1% additionally per day over the previous day. Where will you go within a year? And most people say, well, you rise by 100% or 200 or 500%. No, it's 37 times, 3,700% times where you started. And that's been proven many times. There's another book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and it's the same, that one simple concept that Darren publishes and supports so greatly here with the compound effect.
Yeah, because it compounds, right? It's not just addition; it's compounding math, which is so powerful. Yeah, great. Okay, and then the next thing that he talks about is momentum, right? So it's one of the most powerful and enigmatic forces in all of success. So unfortunately, this also means that negative habits can build up steam and send you into a tailspin of unlucky circumstances and consequences, right? That downward spiral, like we were talking about. So, but when you gain momentum in positive ways and you figure out a routine that will work for you, you will steadily get closer to achieving your goals, right? And that's the thing. It's the other thing I really love is this idea of Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built every day, right? That's kind of the idea, is that you're just doing it brick by brick every single day, and you'll eventually, have a finished wall or a finished house or whatever it is you're building. So you just have to make sure that the momentum's going in the right direction, right? So as Darren said, the rhythm of daily action aligned with your goals creates the momentum that separates dreamers from super achievers. And he said, consistency is the key to achieving and maintaining the momentum, right? Because once you kind of get going, those habits, right? They say if you can do something for about 30 days or so, it will become a habit. You'll feel weird if you don't do it. And I'll take this back to a health thing. Um, I remember, I hated flossing my teeth, right? Like I was fine brushing my teeth, okay, yeah, brush my teeth in the morning, brush my teeth at night, and it was great. And I did that all through my life. But I got to a point where, unfortunately, I got my dad's genes versus my mom's genes. My dad was always notorious for having cavities and gum disease and whatever. And my mom, not, right? My mom, not so much. She never had a cavity in her life. But, unfortunately, I got my dad's teeth. And so, all of a sudden I got to a certain age where I was going to the dentist and, oh, my gums are bleeding and, you've got pocket. And that wasn't so bad with cavities because I was at least brushing, but, gingivitis, right? And they're like, oh, yeah, you've got these pockets and it's bad. And I was like, how do I do it? Because I just could never get myself to do, the flossing, right? And so, but it got to the point where the dentist was like, you better start or you're going to lose your teeth. You're going to have to do some drastic stuff. All right, fine. So I started doing it and I got myself a water pick. Right? I thought, okay, maybe doing a water pick along with the flossing will help. And I just forced myself. I just said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to floss and I'm going to water pick. And guess what? After 30 days, it became a habit. And now there's no way I can't even like fathom like, oh no, there's something in my teeth, or whatever. I can't even go, an hour without having to get some floss. And it's like now it's uncomfortable if I don't do it, right? But it took that effort of making that decision. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna water pick. I'm gonna floss. And now it's like natural to me. I just do it, just like I was brushing my teeth, and now I'm flossing and water picking every day like I'm supposed to, and it's not weird, right? It actually feels really normal and good. So that's the kind of thing that we can do. We can make those changes. We can do it and just force ourselves through it for the first 30 days, and then it will become a habit, and then you'll actually feel weird if you don't do it. So, Vaughn, thoughts on that?
Yes, momentum is, as he says, it is the key. And you created momentum by what you did, changing your flossing habits. Do you use these little gizmos, where you can buy those packages? I use that all the time at my desk. But the reason it's meaningful to me is that I had to learn to use momentum because I was always the smallest kid in my class growing up. I'm still shorter than most adults, but it during all those years of being so small in my class, often smaller than most of the girls, is I never got invited to play the sports or doing anything athletic. But I learned that I could use the momentum of my body to pick things up, to move things, to run or to push, uh, where I didn't maybe have the basic strength, but I could use the principle of momentum to apply extra force to something and accomplish some goals and carry some loads that I would not have otherwise been able to.
Awesome. Yep. So that takes us to the last thing, which is just keep swimming, right? So I love the quote from Jim Rohn. I actually have this on my wall. I have my den, right, my office, and I have it in sticker, right, in cursive sticker up on my wall. And it says, "Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better." That is so awesome to me. I love that quote. So wishing away your life will get you nowhere, right? Acting upon your wishes can lead you to the place you hope to be. Giving a little more time, energy, or thought to your efforts won't just improve your results, it will multiply them. So when I feel like I've maxed out all my energy and efforts and everything, I try to push myself a tiny bit more just to become the person I know I want to be. So as Darren says, to achieve what you have not, you must become what you are not. You have to grow into your goals. And success is neither nature or nurture. Everyone can choose to change, to grow, and succeed. So my friends, it's all about just enduring, right? Enduring to the end, keep on swimming, keep going, have that perseverance, right? Because persistence really will get you there, but perseverance will allow you to keep it, right? And that's the bottom line. So, thoughts on that, Vaughn?
Yes, Darren had a mentor, and that was Jim Rohn, and they had a good, close relationship for a lot of years. But then, of course, ultimately, Jim Rohn died. But he was very active in where I met Darren in the People's Network, TPN, the Success Channel, back in the 90s. And the fact that we had people like Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy and Dr. Jeanette Voss and all those good people, that was helpful, but it was a matter of taking action. And that's one thing that Darren did that so many others, they'd listen to Jim Rohn and people like that, but then they wouldn't take action. And Darren Hardy did it, and he does it now with his Darren Daily. And so I do suggest that anybody that wants to pick up on what Darren does now is to subscribe to his Darren Daily. It's free of charge.
Wonderful. Okay, so in conclusion, the compound effect can help you break through to new and greater levels of success. Just remember, everything you do creates that ripple effect, right? So every choice matters, even if just a little bit. Kind of like the butterfly effect, right? We've all heard that butterfly effect analogy of where a butterfly flapping its wings, somewhere in Asia can affect weather patterns all across the other side of the world here in the United States, right? Just because a little bit of wind change over time, over the ripple, can affect so many things. So we've got to find our internal motivation and don't stop pushing ourselves to grow and become the person we want to be. Our future self will thank us for taking the time to make those repetitive, smart choices every day to get us where we want to be. So in other words, don't be afraid to be amazing. So with that concludes our training for today. Hopefully you guys thought that was helpful. Hopefully you can apply this compounding effect in your lives as we prepare for an amazing future with our positive social impact movement. And I can't wait to be able to apply this once that comes to fruition here in the near future. But with that, we'll let you get back to your Saturdays. Thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll see you all next Saturday for some further training.
Can I ask Vaughn a question?
Oh yeah, let me just stop this for a moment real quick then.
Sure.
Sure, go ahead, Billy.
Yeah, Vaughn, just want to pick your brain for just a second. Where do you find that Darren Daily?
I'll post it in the Team Kaizen thing. You can actually just look it up online. Just Darren Daily is
Darren Daily.
Darren spelled with 2 R's, Darren Daily.
Now, does he have a YouTube channel or something?
It's not a YouTube channel. It's his own channel.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you subscribe to it, and he'll be every morning, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning our time. But it's a text, so you can, whether it bothers whether you have a notification sound or not depends on you, on him.
Yeah, it comes in an email as well. So you get a text or an email, and he just sends his little message, and then you go watch it, and it just it's on his website.
Oh, okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much, fellas.
All right, sounds good. Okay, well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you all next week.